Are you looking to start your very own internet radio station or radio network? Do you need a reliable, high-bandwidth, dedicated server? ReliaStream offers some of the lowest rates on the web. ReliaStream supports Shoutcast, Icecast, and iTunes radio broadcasting. We are so confident you will love our services. We even offer a free 15-day trial. You will also enjoy our free top-rated customer service, free live support, and low-cost dedicated servers. Visit www.reliastream.com. That's reliastream.com to get started.
You're listening to Ghost Fighter Radio.
Blog Talk Radio.
You ready?
It's time to start.
This should be played at high volume.
This is the ANDREA SHEA KING Show.
And I'm just a gal like any other gal.
That's cool.
You know what this is?
What is this?
The ANDREA SHEA KING Show.
It's me, don't you remember?
We were just talking about you.
Totally amazing.
Thank you.
The ANDREA SHEA KING Show.
I think you've got something there.
ANDREA SHEA KING
You're really going to like it.
Quite understandable.
is on the air.
Something's definitely going on here.
Take my word for it.
Now.
Come on. It's showtime.
Make it so. Ready, go.
Well, good evening, everybody. It is day number 2 in Wausau, Wisconsin. Although if you live in Wisconsin, you have to say Wisconsin. I'm picking up the lingo here. It's quite interesting to hear the regional dialect. People from all over America have a certain way of speaking, and you can tell. You know, when you travel around, you get to hear the sound of people's voices and how they pronounce words and the intonations. And if you're well seasoned enough as a traveler, you can pick out where somebody is from pretty quickly. New England, it's a little bit more difficult. There's a little bit more of a distinction, mainly because Bostonians speak a certain way, people from Revere speak another way, and folks from my hometown, Salem, have a totally different dialect. It's really amazing when you get to know the area and your ear becomes attuned to the way people talk. You can almost tell which neighborhood they're from. Anyway, it's just one of those picadillos that you find when you're in a new area, a new locale. And I have to tell you that the people here in Wausau are just so friendly. Let me give you an example. Earlier today, we were out, Elizabeth and I, we decided that we were going to need some name tags for the focus group that we're holding tomorrow here in Wausau at the hotel that we're staying at. And we said, well, you know, there's a mall within walking distance, but there wasn't a stationery store in there. And we looked and we looked. We went to the Hallmark store. We thought maybe a hobby and craft shop might have something. Nothing at all. I mean, most of these stores are high-end department stores, specialty stores, et cetera. So we happened to meander over to the cosmetic counter of one of the department stores. Gals that we are, we went over to test the different fragrances. And so while we were doing that, the gal behind the counter came over, and she's very friendly. Her name is Karen, and offered to help us. And what can I do for you? And I said, oh, we're just sampling your fragrances. And so we got chatting with her a little bit, and she said, where are you from? Obviously, we didn't speak like we were from Wisconsin. She did, but we didn't. So we told her, and she asked, you know, what were we doing here? And we explained to her that we were, you know, here on business and that we were holding a meeting tomorrow. And, oh, by the way, do you happen to know where we can get some name tags and plastic sleeves and lanyards so that, you know, we can identify everybody? And she said, oh, that's a good question. She said, there's a Staples, and she started telling us about some different places, but it would have required a car or getting in a cab and going, and we're just like, oh, we really don't want to do that. So she said, well, hold on. She said, I'll call my husband, and he's with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and he can help you. He'll know where to go. So she placed a phone call right then and there from behind the counter, talked with her husband, got off the phone, and said, now, you folks can just go walk right down the street, and he's in his office, and he has some name tags that he'll give to you. We said, wow, this is really neat. This is a nice person. These are nice people. So we did. We walked down the street. Turns out that the Convention and Visitors Bureau is right in the hotel we're staying at, right on the first floor. So we didn't have to go very far. We weren't inconvenienced, and he couldn't have been nicer. And his name was Darren. So thank you to Karen and Darren from Wausau. Nice people. We got our name tags. We're all set for tomorrow. And if you tune in tomorrow at about 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, well, no, that'll be 2 o'clock your time. It's 1 o'clock local time here, 2 o'clock Eastern. I am actually going to be doing a live show. And we're going to be sitting in with the folks who are going to be asked questions in this focus group, and you'll be able to hear them. It might work out. It might not. We'll see what happens. I mean, what the heck? We're up for anything, right, on this program? Yeah, pretty much so, pretty much. And in just a little bit, probably about, I don't know, within the next 10 minutes or so, we got a couple of members of our team, the Campaign to Defeat Obama, who are going to be calling in. And they're going to be explaining what exactly we are going to be doing tomorrow. So you get to hear from Joe Wiersbicki and Ryan Gill, and they're kind of like the ringleaders of this ragtag operation here in Wausau, Wisconsin. And we're having some fun. It's a good time. Diana Nagy is with us. She is the singer and entertainer, recording artist who has traveled with us on the Tea Party Express. She's helping out, and she is just, her bubbly, effervescent personality is a joy to be around. We also have Chris Lacombe, who is he's kind of like our mascot. You know, he's 17 years old, and he's the runner. He's the guy that goes and does all the grunt work for us and takes care of business when we're busy doing other things. So we've got a nice little crowd with us. And we've got a couple of people flying in tonight who are going to help us with the television commercial production. So it's going to be fun. And you'll be part of it tomorrow, and I do hope that you'll join me. And if you can't join me at that time, well, then just listen in on the archive. And, again, I'm not guaranteeing anything. Who knows how this is going to turn out? I don't have a microphone. I'm going to be using my iPhone earbud microphone, so we'll see how that goes. So how are you all doing today? Did you have a good day? I certainly hope you did. Let's see who's in the chat room with us tonight. Hello from Bob from CosCob, our regular listener in there. Echo is with us tonight. Hey, Echo, how you doing? Ghost Fighter Radio from Las Vegas. Hey, Ghost Fighter, nice to see you in there. We got Mohawk Dave and Savannah 912, and we've got some guests who are joining us as well. So it's nice to see you. Now, tonight we're going to be talking, not only will we be talking with the members of the Campaign to Defeat Obama, but we're also going to be talking about Todd Akin. Boy, oh boy, this thing has really mushroomed, this situation with the Missouri congressman who opened his mouth and said some untoward things that were really kind of backwards, if you really want to know the truth, about rape and a woman's body shutting down to prevent pregnancy. And, I mean, he really got it all twisted around. But the thing of it is the guy is a pro-lifer. His record shows that he's a pro-lifer. And the Republican Party has just come down so hard on this guy. I mean, they have really, really piled on him. They've told him they're not going to be donating any money from the Senate committee, the Senate senatorial, whatever that's called, the committee that gives money. I mean, the Republican committee, the Republican National Parties, they're going to be holding back money. It's crazy. We're going to talk about that tonight. I talked about it last night and said, you know what, let the people in Missouri decide what they want to do about this guy. They voted him to be the opponent to Claire McCaskill in the primary. He was challenged by two other candidates, and he came out on top. And he was 11 points ahead of Claire McCaskill as of, I think, yesterday before this all broke. And I say, you know what, the Republican Party, back off. But we'll see what you think about this. We're also going to be talking about Vice President Joe Biden. You know, there's a guy out there who writes a column. He's pretty prolific. He's writing a column practically every day. And I really want to say it's more than a column. It's more of a think piece. And he's written about Joe Biden in such a way that I think it's a very interesting take, and I want to share it with you. And then I want to tell you about I meant to mention it last night that my column is up at WorldNet Daily. Surf and Safari, it's on the diversions page. And this week, the lead story is about traffic cams and drones are just the beginning. that I am questioning Big Brother's use of facial recognition. How concerned should you be about one company's facial recognition technology and the potential for Big Brother to record your every move? That's the question that The Blaze posed to military and technical experts. How accurate is facial recognition technology? Is there enough bandwidth to handle the voluminous amount of data that's fed by these cameras? And does there exist a repository that's large enough to store all that collected data? Well, could it be the Utah Desert National Security Administration data center under construction and control of the U.S. government? Can and will that data be used against us in the future? That's the lead story. I go on from there and give you links where you can go and explore and research a little more on your own about this. And also Facebook, speaking of facial recognition, Facebook evidently, they don't respond real quickly to users' complaints. And folks were saying that they didn't, there were certain photos that were up on Facebook that they didn't want up there. And Facebook was supposed to have deleted them, but it took them 3 years to do it. Why? Check that out over there at Surf and Safari as well. AT&T announcing that beginning on August 23rd, that would be, 2 days from today, it's going to offer FaceTime over its cellular service as an added benefit of their new mobile shared data plans, which were created to meet customers' growing data needs. And we all know we all have greater, really growing data needs. FaceTime with somebody that you're talking on the phone with is kind of nice. I do it with my daughter and my grandchildren, and it really makes the experience a whole lot more intimate, especially when you can't be close. When my family lives coast to coast, so this is kind of nice. So anyway, also an archaeological researcher who has looked through Google Earth satellites may have found something very interesting in Egypt. Now, whether or not they'll survive what's going on politically in Egypt is a whole other question. But you might want to take a look at what these archaeologists found in Egypt from looking up on high. Okay, so that's the Surf and Safari column over at WorldNet Daily. You can find it at wnd.com/diversions, and that's weekly. It goes up every single Monday night. Okay, as I told you, we are having some fun here in Warsaw, Wisconsin, with our members of the Campaign to Defeat Obama team. We're working hard to put together a focus group, and I've got them on the line with me right now. First of all, I want to introduce you to Joe Wierzbicki. Hey, Joe, how are you doing?
Hey, Andrea. It's nice to be on with you and your listeners tonight.
It's nice to have you on with us. And then we also have Ryan Gill with us. Ryan, welcome.
Andrea, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear, Ryan. Loud and clear.
Great to be here.
Good. Well, listen, guys, first I guess I want to start with Joe first. Joe, can you tell our listeners what the purpose of this focus group tomorrow is all about?
Sure. Well, it's kind of easy, actually. Once Mitt Romney tapped Congressman Paul Ryan to be his vice presidential running mate, we finally had a true, authentic Tea Party credentialed candidate on the top of the ticket for either of the parties. You have the president and the vice president of both parties, so you have 4 slots. And up to that point, we had 3 slots filled, and none of them were really Tea Party-type conservatives. So when Governor Romney selected Paul Ryan, we rejoiced in the fact that we finally had someone who was a constitutional conservative who championed the values of the Tea Party movement. So what we thought was important was to go ahead and in this historic time, this historic opportunity, to sell a Tea Party conservative to the American people, as someone who would be the adult to take on the serious problems facing our country, that we were going to go ahead and do that. And that we thought this was the ticket to success for victory in November against Barack Obama and the Democrats running for House and Senate. So we decided we were going to do a TV ad campaign that would run in targeted states across the country. And one of the things we wanted to do was we wanted to go and talk to the voters, the real people of America, the real people of Wisconsin, who respond best to Paul Ryan and what it is, and find out what it is that speaks to their hearts and souls and excites them about this candidate who has totally galvanized the race. So we're going to do a focus group tomorrow. We're going to talk to people and say, what is it exactly about Paul Ryan that inspires so much enthusiasm and energy amongst the Republican base? And then immediately following that, we're going to take those very same people and we're going to film them for a series of TV ads that, as I said, will run in targeted states across the country, swing states, that will help tilt the balance for victory for the Romney Ryan ticket, and most importantly, victory for the people of this country who are in desperate need of real leadership at this time.
Now, Ryan, how did you go about selecting these folks to participate in the focus group and the TV commercials?
Well, we reached out to our networks, people we knew who were supporters of our efforts in the past or who were networks within the Republican and conservative organizations in the area, and we told them we want the people who are the rank-and-file grassroots supporters of Republicans and conservatives like Paul Ryan, and the word spread like wildfire. We went out on social networks, we went out on email, but most of all, people to people, they found each other and came back to us and said, we want to participate in this important project. I think the response has truly been tremendous and impressive and telling about how much energy is really behind this ticket at this time and behind the pick of Paul Ryan and what it is that he brings to the ticket and what he represents for conservatives and our hopes for what we can get done in Washington.
And you know, Andrea, I mean, what we're so excited about is, think about it, the people, the rank-and-file voters of America are going to sit there and they're going to go ahead and have their input be the determining factor about how the dialogue is going to happen in this election cycle. And how often does that happen? It just doesn't happen. Everything is always consultant-driven and poll-driven and stuff like that. And, you know, no, the real people, the people who are going to be the voters, who, you know, have the stake, who have the debt that they don't want passed on to their children, who have the housing crisis and the unemployment crisis to deal with, they're going to be the ones who are going to sit there and say, no, this is how this election is going to be run, and these are the issues that are going to be raised. And their voices are going to be heard tomorrow, and we can be more excited.
And we noted also, I think we were pleasantly surprised to see that the immediate response to our call for respondents to the participate in the focus group was amazing, and it came from all over the country almost immediately. Some of them even came from California.
It was really exciting to see how people actually were willing to come not only from the surrounding areas, from far away, at times from across the country, and that it didn't even strike them as odd that they might go and make this extra effort, that to them the stakes are that high, that what we're doing is that important, that they're excited to be there wherever it may be, and a lot of people have been talking about how much they're going to go through to get here because they just want to be a part of this historic moment.
And you know what, Andrea? And you know what? Tomorrow, the party bosses don't have a say. The political establishment doesn't have a say. You know what? The American people are going to have their say. And it's such a liberating experience. And we're just so proud to be a part of it and to have people like your listeners who, you know, care so much about this country and have so much invested in it, are paying so close attention and putting their heart and soul into going ahead and bringing true reform and change so we can get the socialists out of the White House, to be quite frank, and to go ahead and finally start dealing with the problems that are plaguing America so we can once again restore America to the greatest power on earth with the strongest economy, the best national defense, and the most prosperous and peace-loving people on this planet.
Boy, that's the truth. That is absolutely the truth. Now, Joe and Ryan, first of all, these TV commercials, I know I was telling the folks that we're going to be spending time here for the rest of the week after the focus group and after we tape people's comments actually in production for these TV spots. How many spots will there be, and how soon will it be before they start airing in the Wisconsin area, throughout Wisconsin?
Well, we're very excited to see the group that comes together tomorrow and the people who are able to interview, and we're going to, I'm sure, have just a bounty of material that we're going to want to fit into these spots. We do have a few structures of the sort of spots that we know we're looking to make, and we may find more that we're inspired to make by this group and by their remarks and what they see in this ticket, what they see in Paul Ryan, and what they see in the future for our country. And
that's
so
right. What Ryan said is correct, because you know, we know that, look, there's going to be the spots that champion Paul Ryan's record, and there's going to be the spots that highlight and contrast the difference between Paul Ryan and Joe Biden. But tomorrow, the American people are going to go ahead and speak, and based on their words and their wisdom, because it really is their wisdom of how to go ahead and save this republic. They're going to guide us, and, what we get from them is going to determine how many spots it is, but they're going to run in targeted states all across this country from now to Election Day, and when the voice of the American people is heard, I think it's going to be an assured victory, because, that's what this nation was founded upon, was we the people, and tomorrow we the people will be heard.
Amen to that. Amen to that. And, of course, being a PAC, Campaign to Defeat Obama, we are having absolutely nothing to do with the Paul Ryan campaign or the candidate. This is being done completely independent of the candidacy of Paul Ryan. And like you said, the people who are participating in this are doing it of their own volition. They're volunteering. They're enthused. They are
and isn't that
eager.
Authentic and organic, and isn't that a beautiful thing? I mean, this isn't people who have a stake in power or money who are going to be doing this. These are people who have a stake in the future of America and the well-being of their children and their grandchildren's futures, who are going to go ahead and have a stake in this. And that's what we think is so exciting, is to go ahead and be a part of something so organic and so authentic, which is people going ahead and fighting for the good of their country, not political hacks going and doing their jobs.
Yeah, and isn't that refreshing? Because we think of these PACs as being ways that people buy influence, or ways that people who are well-connected go and play the chess game. Well, here we can go and use that structure and be what is at the very core of the concept of American democracy, which is people working together to work toward a common goal, and a common goal that is freedom and liberty and superior policies and a better future for themselves and their posterity.
Mm-hmm. And you know what, Barack Obama and Joe Biden, we're coming for you. And you know what, you can go, and all the king's horses and all the king's men can't stop we the people from taking our country back and our government back. And that's what we're going to go ahead and do starting tomorrow.
I love it. Absolutely. And tomorrow we're also going to be broadcasting this show live from the focus group. We're going to try and see how well it goes, and we'll get some comments from the people that are there so that folks who are listening to the show can hear it real live. And if they can't hear it live at the time,
Americans talking to other Americans.
Right. That's exactly it. Exactly. Yes. And if they can't hear it live, they can hear it archived, because we will have it up on the site at Blog Talk Radio. So that's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it, guys. Thank you so much. I know that you're eager to get to it tomorrow, too. So
yes, and Andrea, thank you. And once again, as I always say, thank you to your listeners for caring enough about their country to tune in and to take part in this democracy, this republic, really, and the fight for our future, because that's the only way we're going to go ahead and save this country. And so a big shout-out and thanks to all those who are listening right now and who have listened for the past few years.
Yes,
stay tuned and stay involved.
Yes, and they do. They've sent in money, they've contributed, and they continue to reach into their pockets and into their checkbooks and write those checks.
They contact the members of Congress, they make their voices heard, and without them there would be no hope for the future of this republic.
They're truly doing the civic duty of us all.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and this is what it's going to take. Well, guys, I'll let you get back to work. Thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight. Really appreciate it. We'll look forward to tomorrow. Take it easy.
All right, Andrea. Good night now.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Ryan. Bye-bye. All right, there they go. And I want to tell you folks, too, that we were, when we put out the call for volunteers to come in, interested people to come in and participate, we actually had to create a waiting list because there were so many people who were interested. I was really amazed that we were getting calls from all over the country, people who were willing to fly in from McLean, Virginia, for example, 2 people from Los Angeles, the Los Angeles area, one who is an agriculture business owner. I mean, people are very concerned and very motivated and so excited that Paul Ryan has been named to be the running mate with Mitt Romney. Just amazing. Anyway, again, tomorrow we're going to be doing this focus group. It's pretty exciting. This is the first time I've been involved in something like this, and it's quite interesting. It's a lot of fun. Okay, let me move on here and acknowledge some of the other folks who have joined us in the chat room. Beverly in Kentucky. Hi, Beverly. Nice to see you in there. And let's see, we have Lorraine Kay, who's joined us as well. Welcome to all of you, and welcome to our guests and those of you who are listening who aren't in the chat room. And why aren't you in the chat room? Maybe you just like to be a passive listener, huh? That could be it. Okay, well, as I was telling you before, we talked last night about this Todd Akin situation. And there's been a lot of discussion about it today. Todd Akin has decided, of course, he is the representative from Missouri. I believe he's a 5-term congressman, and he's decided to run for U.S. Senate. He ran in the primary against 2 other challengers. He beat them, and to go on to challenge Claire McCaskill for the seat that she sits in the U.S. Senate. Well, he came out with some comments yesterday or the day before that really put him into some hot water. He got his merge wixed. It was one of those situations where he really said the wrong thing, but he didn't mean it in the way that it came out. Let me play the clip for you. This is Todd Akin on with Charles Jaco on Jaco's television program. Hold on, here it is.
The importance of all of us. Okay, so if an abortion could be considered in a case of, say, a tubal pregnancy or something like that, what about in the case of rape? Should it be legal or not?
Well, people always want to try and make that as one of those things. Well, how do you slice this particularly tough sort of ethical question? It seems to me, first of all, from what I understand from doctors, that's really rare. If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down. But let's assume that maybe that didn't work or something. I think there should be some punishment, but the punishment ought to be in the rapist and not attacking.
Okay. Obviously, Todd Akin just tripped all over his tongue on that deal. But his record shows, according to the research that I've been doing, his record shows that he is staunchly pro-life. His voting record has been pro-life all the way down the line. And, the people of Missouri voted for him. They decided they wanted him to be their candidate to take on Claire McCaskill. Well, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of crap being thrown right now, a lot of piling on from the Republican establishment power stratosphere, if you will. And I didn't get a chance to listen to Rush Limbaugh today, but somebody sent me a clip of him talking about this on his show. And I have to tell you, I think that this is probably among the most measured approaches that I have heard. I've had some heated discussions, lively discussions, with some of my colleagues in the Tea Party who feel that Todd Akin should step down, that he's in danger, he's of imperiling the takeover of the Senate by the Republican Party. They think that he could tilt the Senate back into the Democrats' hands. I don't know if that's true or not. My contention is that it's up to the voters of Missouri to determine if that's who they want representing them in the U.S. Senate. And evidently, through the primary process, that's what they said. They wanted him. Well, here's Rush Limbaugh opening up the monologue about this today on his show. Listen to this. This is Rush.
He's snarkily yelling at me. Are you going to get rid of Akin now? Before I give my 2 cents on all this, folks, let me first say, my natural tendency, I have 2 natural tendencies. One is to avoid the pack, to avoid the conventional wisdom, to avoid when everybody seems to be uttering, voicing, doing the same thing. That's when I put on the brakes and say, do I want to join this mob? And I also have as you well know, a tendency to want to support conservatives who come under fire. It doesn't happen enough. Now, the Democrats circle the wagons around their people. We circle the firing squad. It's what we do. And I think I understand exactly what happened here. All these people who say they don't know what Akin was saying, they don't know what he was trying to say. I think I know exactly what he was trying to say. I think I know exactly what happened here. So I think Akin is one of these guys, but it's a wild guess because I don't know him, but I'm just going to throw my 2 cents in here like everybody else is. Yeah, there are people who hang around only like-minded people. And there are people who hang around and expose themselves to people who disagree with them on things. And I think Akin may be one of these people who hangs around with people who only think the way he does about things. And I happen to believe, because what is this really all about? If you strip this down, what Akin was trying to say was something very simple. I don't think abortion should even happen in rape. That's what he was trying to say. Let's just strip away all the other stuff. And there are a group of pro-lifers who profoundly believe that, and they talk to each other, and they try to come up with ways of persuading other people to agree with them on this. Because their view is, it's not the baby's fault. Why are we going to kill the baby? Why should there be an exception? The baby is the essence of innocence in every act of conception. The baby is entirely innocent, is what they believe. And so an exception to them weakens the entire argument. So they sit around amongst themselves. I'm not being critical of them. Don't misunderstand my choice of words or tone. And they try to think of ways to persuade other people to agree with them. So Aiken goes on TV with Charles Jaco, which, mistake number one, but he goes on with Charles Jaco on local St. Louis TV. And this whole business of a woman's body shuts down in rape, there's no evidence for that. But this is the kind of thing that people who do nothing but talk amongst themselves will conjure up. A belief system like that and end up and they'll grab onto anything they can to support what their empirical belief is. Because their ultimate aim is to save life. Their ultimate aim is to protect the baby no matter what circumstance the conception occurs in. And I think that's just who the guy is, but he doesn't know how to explain it. He has no clue how to make his case for it. And so he hangs around people who are like-minded, and they've devised this belief system. He's not the first guy to say this. I've had people tell me that a woman's body shuts down in rape. There's no evidence for this. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. This leads to the second problem. This is absurd. That belief that a woman's body shuts down, and the whole notion of legitimate, illegitimate rape, it's just that's the thing that bothers me about it. That's just absurd. It's not intelligent. So now we have, I know what he was trying to talk about. I know, I'm pretty confident, I'm pretty sure that I know what he was trying to say. And then, as others have pointed out, on the one hand, here we have a guy in glorious ineptitude attempting to defend every conceived life. And by the way, God bless him for that. On the other hand, we got a political party who's going to have a former president actually accused of rape introduce and keynote Barack Obama. And that's fine. This is why I am hesitant to join the mob that says throw this guy out. We have a circular firing squad. Look, folks, I'm well aware of what happened in Missouri. I'm well aware it was an open primary. A bunch of Democrats went in there and voted for Aiken, because it's another question people are. How did the guy win? If we want to throw him out, the guy won. Why do we want to throw him out? Well, he won a three-way race in which the Democrats could vote, and the Democrats were running ads suggesting that this guy, they couldn't wait to run against this guy because of the issue of abortion and this whole war on women. They just couldn't wait. McCaskill was salivating to get Aiken as the nominee, and she got what she wanted. There's a poll out. I don't know if you've seen this. Probably have seen it because it's a little afternoon, and this poll has been out since yesterday. Public policy polling. Liberal Democrat polling firm from North Carolina. Even after all of this, they say Aiken still leads McCaskill by 1 point. Yeah, have you seen the sample breakdown in that poll? You haven't? Well, I'll tell you about it. 9% more Republicans in the sample than Democrats. This poll is part of the whole strategy to keep Aiken on the ticket. Keep him as the nominee. public policy polling with a poll out after all this that shows this guy leading McCaskill by 1 point, but they have to do this with a Republican sample 9% larger than the Democrat sample. Now, a lot of you are going to think I'm insincere when I say this. I have a real problem sitting here and telling this man he has to go. I don't want anybody telling me what I have to do with my radio show. I don't like people telling me, you better quit after I've said something that I don't even think, in many cases, the double standard is undeniable, but it's there. And it's, I think, one of the reasons, by the way, if I may address this double standard business, we circle the firing squad, they circle the wagons. One of the reasons why the double standard exists in the way Republicans in public life or conservatives in public life are treated versus liberal Democrats is very simple to me, too. We have made it plain we care about truth. We have made it plain that we care about honesty. We've made it plain we care about integrity and we care about virtue. And so there's a standard. The other side couldn't care less about any of that. Their animating force, the thing that gives them life every day, the thing that gets them out of bed is defeating us. That's not what gets our side out of bed every day, is defeating them. And this proves it. We are not unified in our desire to rid the earth of socialists. They are unified in their desire to rid the world of us. Politically. And as such, we have no unity on our side and a different purpose altogether. But the double standard exists. I'll never forget one day, 20 years ago, Oliver North was out making a speech somewhere, and he cracked a joke that was, I don't even remember the joke. I don't remember the details. All I know is the Washington Post raked him over the coals. And it was something that if a Democrat had said, they'd be applauding and laughing. And I called him and said, Ollie, there's a different standard here. There's a, we make it plain we care about virtue and honesty and all that. They don't, so there is a different standard. He said, you're right. Look they've got Joe Biden out telling black people that we want to put them all back in chains, and they circle the wagons, they defend that. I mean, I know they circle the wagons, they'll defend Obama on anything. They're out there now saying Obama's not trying to divide him. Obama never called Romney a felon. Who the hell are you to make that act? And we all know what happened. Aiken's got to go by 5 o'clock today, from what I understand. But then he doesn't. There's still a way to get him off the ticket or for him to leave the you need a court order after 5 o'clock, but there's still a way. There is still a way he can leave the campaign, cede the victory after 5 o'clock today. I've seen all of the things that you've seen, people telling him he should go, he needs to get out for the good of the party, for the good of the country, for the good of the presidential campaign. I got to defeat Obama. I agree with all that, by the way. I think that there are a lot of things here larger than single individuals. Saving the country, from our perspective, is at the top of that. Repealing Obamacare is at the top of that. And any distraction that makes it tougher to vote for Romney and Ryan is something that we don't need. Understand all that. At the same time, I'm a guy on the radio. Who am I to tell this man what to do? He knows what he's going to do. He knows he knows the right thing to do, and he knows whether he's going to do it or not. And he's got hundreds of people leaning on him, trying to reach him by phone or what have you. So I try. He's an honest, decent guy. That's the one thing that I think. You disagree with me on that, Snerdley? It is stupid. That's the He said something stupid. He said something that's not true. He said something that can't be proven. And as such, we don't know how often that kind of thing will happen throughout the rest of the campaign.
All right, that was Rush Limbaugh today on his show. And as you know, after Rush finished his show, the news came out that Aiken had decided to stay in the race, and in fact he released a TV commercial in which he apologized for his remarks and asked for forgiveness. And I thought that that was kind of a big thing for him to do. Some of the comments that I heard was, yes, it was great, but where was his family? How come his wife and 2 daughters weren't sitting there with him? That would have been even better. But, that's, again, a matter of subjectivity, I suppose. But he has decided to stay in the race. Now, Rush went on to say that he says, I have a little bit of a fantasy here, but I don't think this is going to happen. He said, I would love for the media to continue talking about this Aiken guy from my home state of Missouri. What did he do? He said something that's stupid. He said something that's incorrect. But all the guy wants to do is save lives. I mean, you can call him an idiot, you can call him stupid, but the guy is not evil. He doesn't want to hurt anybody, and I don't think we can say that about the Democrats. I don't think we can. The Democrats live and breathe this. They celebrate 1.7 million abortions every year, or whatever the number is, 1.3 million. And I know some of you cringe. I know you say, we don't want this subject brought up. It's going to distract from the economy. This guy's a distraction, and we need to stick to the economy. And don't worry. We are never distracted here, as Rush says. We're not going to be distracted from what an utter disaster Barack Obama is. And this doesn't change what a disaster Obama is. This doesn't change what an utter disaster he portends for the future of the country. As Rush points out, it is important to make the point that while everybody here is